almost as if the care professionals who worked at the Mid-Staffs Hospital forgot what they were there for. That's the conclusion of the Francis report, which has delivered 290 recommendations into how to make sure that the terrible things that went on never happened again. David Welbourn from the Centre for Health Enterprise is here. David, it highlights a failure in leadership, but in what way did leadership fail?
Well, if you look at the circumstances, any failure that does take place at a detail level at ward level and is allowed to continue is a failure of leadership, because the fundamental duty of a board is to have their finger on the pulse of everything that's happening and intervene when things start to go wrong before they've got as disastrously wrong as they did at Mid-Staffordshire. And in that intervention, their role is to put in place the processes that will prevent it ever happening again.
Now, this report has made 290 recommendations. Students of management would probably say that sounds like a recipe for disaster.
I agree entirely with you. I think that the 290 recommendations are all recommendations that point to in a sense, the public's expectation of some sort of retribution for the fact the system failed as badly as it did. And you can understand that desire for things to be put right in that way. But the bottom line as to why leadership failed in the way that it did, and why there are stresses in leadership throughout the health system, is that the role of leaders is to be decisive, to be courageous, to assess the situation, to be clear about their purpose, and to be constantly striving to improve. And an environment in which they are constantly looking over their shoulders to what somebody else is telling them to do is not a world which encourages people to take the right decisions, to be courageous, to be bold, to inspire their entire workforce to continuously improve. So the level of micromanagement that is implied by 290 recommendations is precisely the sort of environment that created the black hole into which the system fell anyway. So I'm quite worried about that.
So how do you put management systems, leadership, in place that will sort these problems out?
That management system that you talk about, the leadership system, there is nothing unique about the health system in that. A board's fundamental duty is to be clear about their purpose, to align all of their resources at their disposal to get the best possible value and the best possible outcomes in line with that purpose, and to do that in consultation with their entire stakeholder set. Now, for the NHS, that means patients, that means the community they serve, it means relatives, it means staff as well. But a board that is not given the freedom to really discharge its statutory duties, remember these are statutory duties that all directors have, there's very little that's new in terms of duties when you get under the skin of it. There's very little that Francis is recommending that's new. What it's about is putting back in place those things that the system has been allowed to let go of because the regulatory regime and the intervention of ministerial departments and politicians has been such as to take those responsibilities and accountability away from the very people who should have had those in the first place. Only the people on the ground can solve this problem, and they've got to do that in every single bit of the NHS at every level, but the boards themselves and their accountability to the public, not compliance against process, but their desire to do the right thing and their ability to inspire their staff is absolutely what counts. And it's what counts for any board in any sector in any country. And we need to get that totally instilled back into the NHS.
David Welbourn from the Centre for Health Enterprise, thank you.
Thank you.